Hello, my loves. What is going on? So grateful to be sharing this space with you. Welcome back to my channel if you're returning. Welcome if you are new here. My name is JasmineAten, Mystic at the Crossroads. I'm your favorite witch's favorite witch here on YouTube. And today we are going to be discussing working with spirit guides. Deities, gods, goddesses, angels, ancestors, spirit guides in general. This is a topic that I have discussed before. I did a video, I want to say probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I learned a lot since then. And of course, whenever I learn something new, I always share it with you. And I also just see a lot of questions. I get asked a lot of questions between clients and students in my Facebook group and other Facebook groups and forums. So I thought it would be a good idea to make an updated video and just really kind of help shed some light on that from my perspective to help anyone who may be new to the path or trying to figure out if they should be working with spiritual forces, spirit guides, spirit energies of any sort, what the benefit of that may be if there is one. Okay, before we get started, be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you find any value in this content, I would appreciate you letting me know by giving it a thumbs up. Let's try to get this video up to 200 likes. This also lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job and they will keep my channel on this platform. All right, so spirit guides. Whew, this is a topic that I could go so deep into. This may even be a part 1 and 2 video, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. And this is more so towards individuals who are new in the practice, or maybe even if you're not new, but you're new to the idea of calling in spiritual reinforcements, right? So first and foremost, you have to understand that we all have a set of spiritual forces, spirit guides, sometimes they're referred to as guardian angels, that come and follow us through this lifetime and this incarnation. Who your spirit guides are, you may or may not ever really find out, like exact names and personal information. You would, if that is something that you want to know, then you would want to consider consulting with like maybe a medium or a shaman or somebody who is able to communicate with spirit guides on that level to give you some clarity. A lot of times our personal spirit guides are ancestors and loved ones who have crossed over. I know a lot of people will work with their ancestors. They'll have ancestor altars to venerate them and show honor and respect and just, you know, love on them. And that is perfectly fine. Now, if you are venturing outside of that and you're considering like, well, should I work with a deity? Should I work with a god or goddess of prosperity or love? Or, you know, is it safe? Should I work with a saint or an archangel? Why or why not? In my opinion, working with any type of spiritual guide, any type of spiritual assistance can be very beneficial. It definitely can. It can employ additional help with whatever it is you may be trying to create or manifest or change in your life. Oftentimes when we are in a space of wanting to level up or wanting to create significant changes, we may want to employ the help because certain spirits, gods, goddesses, deities, what have you, will embody certain skill sets, certain qualifications, not qualifications, certain attributes, I should say, that maybe those attributes we want to be a part of our life. Maybe the skill set can guide us and help teach us how to harness that type of energy to be successful. Example, if you were a writer or you're writing a book, then you may want to work with something like Thoth. I'm not suggesting that you should, but I'm just giving you an example, right? If you are someone who's trying to kind of get back in touch with your divine feminine energy and your goddess energy, your love energy maybe, right? Maybe you've been out of sync with just your femininity and you want to just really tap into that heart chakra, then maybe working with a goddess like Aphrodite. Maybe you do some research on some goddesses and you find a goddess that carries the attributes that you really want to be a part of your natural essence and characteristics. You want to really embrace those qualities, and then you choose to petition working with that deity. That in itself is a whole nother video. So there's a lot of benefits with working with spirit guides. When it comes to working with them and you're new, you do have to be very careful. And I'm going to use candle magic as an example. Any type of spell work, any type of spell casting, any type of magic that you do, whether it's candle magic, Wicca, if you get initiated into spiritual systems, whatever it is that you choose to do, you have to understand that when you start dabbling in the occult, the esoteric, when you start kind of crossing over that threshold of working with tools that vibrate at an energetic frequency that also kind of connect our physical world with the spiritual realm, regardless of what you do, you have to be cautious. Now, working with ancestors is relatively safe. Candle magic is relatively safe. If you are working with candle magic and you're working with like a candle and a crystal and some incense, you're working with natural elements from the earth, you don't necessarily run the biggest risk versus you are calling upon some spirits that you don't know. You're trying to conjure some spirits you don't know. You found some video on YouTube and you were told, call this spirit and they'll give you money and they'll do this. And now you're over here not knowing what you're doing, burning all these candles, you know, reciting the spirit's name, and you may think you are getting a response, or you may think that you are, that spirit is helping you, and you could very easily find that there are a lot of other spirits, entities that dwell in the parallel spiritual universe that is invisibly next to ours, and who you think you might be working with may not at all be who that is. So it's very extremely important to understand how that works before you even begin to consider working with a spirit. Then going into when you decide that you want to, well, how? Well, once you've done the research on figuring out your why, what it is you're trying to create, is it specific attributes that you would like to possess to help you level up? Is it a specific goal in mind that you're trying to really accomplish and you're employing that help, or you need that guidance or that wisdom? Then what I would say is you have to develop a relationship with those spirit guides, regardless of who it is. Unless it's an ancestor or a relative that you were close to, it's really important to do research. And a question that I get a lot, all the time, people will say to me, I petitioned Saint Expedite, right? I petitioned an Orisha. I petitioned a saint, whoever it is. Now, in some spiritual traditions, there are some deities and gods and goddesses that you have to go through an initiation process to even really begin to know the appropriate sacred rites and rituals to connect with these spirits. Some things are just, they're kept very sacred, and they are only passed down through those who are initiates. And you may find some information online, but you may not find really what you need, and you don't always for certain know if that spirit that you are connecting with is indeed, especially if it's one that is very sacred to, like, you can only connect with the spirit through initiation. That's a whole nother topic, a whole nother video. I have some mixed views on that, but respectfully for anyone who is initiated into various spiritual systems, and for anyone who's considering working with certain spirits or deities that belong to a very sacred practice and a sacred group of people, then I would say do your research on that first. Please do your research on that. Don't just go calling out to people. And you also have to respect certain spiritual systems and their way of connecting with those spiritual forces. If a spiritual system requires an initiation to learn certain things to connect with these spirits, then again, just please do your research on that. And not just assume because you've read watched a couple YouTube videos or some articles that you fully know or have the appropriate ritual to channel a spirit that may or may not necessarily assist you given how you come to them, if that makes sense. So most importantly is doing research and doing homework. When you're working with spirit guides, you have to understand that some you can petition. There are some saints that you can go to just one time and you can ask them for this one thing and employ their help, and they are happy to come and help, and they don't require a relationship. They don't need a bunch of offerings. They're just here to help. And then there's some spirits that do require a relationship. You can't just ask them for help and then they give it and then you just, all right, deuces, like, thanks, you know what I'm saying? So it's important to do research and figure out whomever you're choosing to work with, what are their requirements to work with them. Even if you study them, learn their requirements, set up an altar, build a relationship, that doesn't mean that they're going to answer you. Just because you gave them an offering. My favorite, the one I hear all the time is, I petitioned so-and-so and I gave them an offering and nothing ever happened. Like, they just didn't respond. Just because you gave them an offering, you have to understand, working with certain spirits, this is not a transactional relationship. It's not a this for that. It's not a, I'm gonna give you an offering so you give me this money. I'm gonna give you this candle so you're gonna do this. These spirit guides are not your employees, okay? They're not your slaves. They're not your employees. They're not your friends. They don't even know you. And you are asking them to create a change in a way that you aren't able to figure out how to do on your own in the three-dimensional realm. You're here on earth. They're in the spirit world. You're asking them to come down here to help you do something that you can't figure out how to do on your own in the realm that you're in. They don't know you nothing. So, and I just say that to say, people, I really want people to have a little more respect for these spirit guides and stop thinking that because you gave them an offering or you gave them a space that they're just supposed to show up, or not be realistic that sometimes the situation that you're asking for help on, it didn't happen overnight. You didn't get to where you are overnight. You know what I mean? Like, your financial situation didn't, unless you got fired yesterday, it didn't just show up. It's probably, you've probably been dealing with financial issues for some time already. There were probably a sequence of events or decisions that were made that led you to where you are. You know, your relationship didn't just, your partner didn't just wake up in love with you and say, you know what, we're done, and broke up. You've probably been ongoing for months. The relationship has been falling apart and there's been issues that are happening, and now you're broken up, and now you're trying to go find a spirit to petition them to help you reconcile, to help you get some money, when you're calling upon an energy to fix a problem that you want, an overnight manifestation for a problem that's been going on for a year. Okay? The other thing to that is, when you are working with certain spirits, working with spirits is very real, depending on who you work with. Working with energy is very real. Even candle magic, although in my opinion, it is a lot safer than a lot of other things when you're not like conjuring certain spirits. And not to say that it can't be, things can't happen, because again, you are working with certain elements, and there are spirits always, they're all around us at all times. You know, they can peep in and peep out when they want. But it is safe and it's affordable and it works quickly. But you have to show a certain level of respect. You can't come from this place of expectation, or you have to do this, or even getting upset, because 9 times out of 10, most people, what they're trying to fix, change, create, attract, either A, they cancel it out. We talked about that in my last video. You cancel out what it is you're trying to bring to you. B, it ain't for you. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but there comes a point in your spiritual work where you have to really evaluate if this is for you. And if you've been working for months and months and months on end, or you've been working with certain spirit guides and things that just aren't changing, it may be time to take a step back and really assess, is this really for me? Do I really want this, or did I just not want this to leave me, right? Sometimes there are things that are better for you down the road, and you're trying to hold on to something that it's like it's time for a change. Sometimes people will go to working with a deity and just get very frustrated because they're like, how come they're not helping me? Like, what I've done, I've given the water, why aren't they helping me? And, you know, I can't really answer that question. I don't know that anybody can give you a straight answer as to why spirits pick and choose who they work with and who they don't. It's just their choice, and it just kind of is what it is. It's like if you had a neighbor that moved in next door and you saw this neighbor for 6 months and you guys lived right next door, right? And you would come out and see them and they don't really say much. Maybe they'll kind of, you know, give you a head. They don't speak. And, you know, they moved in, so they haven't made really any effort to even say, hey, neighbor, or anything, yet you see this person all the time. And one day they come knock on your door and ask you for some help at midnight. And you're like, who are you? You know, like, I know you're my neighbor and all, but you've never even introduced yourself. We've never had a conversation. And here you are coming to me, asking me to help you with an emergency just because I live next door. Yeah, I'm going back to sleep. You're gonna have to call somebody else. So please understand that, again, when it comes to working with spirits, developing a relationship before you're asking for stuff too. You know, don't just go find a spirit guide and set up an altar and start trying to learn them and connect with them with the intention of, well, I'm gonna research them for about 2 weeks, and then on the full moon, I'm gonna light this candle. They are here to help and they want to help, right? But there is a particular way to go about it, and it's different for everyone. If you are not in a space to build a relationship, then you may not want to consider working with a spirit guide. You might not even need to. Oftentimes, regular old, good old-fashioned candle magic works, good old-fashioned scripting works. There's a lot of things that may just work that doesn't require you to call in the reinforcements of a spiritual force. So really consider that before you jump the gun. At the very least, learn the basics of magic, whatever type of magic you're practicing, before you even consider working with any sort of spirit. In my opinion, in my experience, the spirit guides, the spirits and deities and goddesses and what have you that I have worked with throughout the years, they've come to me. They have made a presence. I can't think of one that I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go work with Ganesh. It wasn't like that. It wasn't, I have this problem and I'm gonna go find the spirit to fix it. It was, they have always shown up in my life at a time where I needed a little extra help, and they just so happened to be the one to do it. That's not the case for everyone. Sometimes they will come to you, sometimes they won't. I'm not trying to discourage anyone, nor am I trying to tell anybody how to practice, but I am trying to tell you how to do it safely, so that you can really get the benefit and understand what you are embarking on. Some spirits, when you work with them and you develop a relationship, you can't just be like, all right, thank you, I got what I needed, I'm out of here. Some spirits will strip from you everything that they've given you. So it's really important to understand that, and it's really important to learn the mere basics, and it's really important, in my opinion, to kind of master your own magic. Learn candle magic first. Learn the law of vibration. Learn the law of attraction. Master how to do that, right, on its own, and be successful before you start calling in the reinforcements. And when you do, learn how to protect yourself. Do the research. Determine, do you have space in your life for this spirit if they require a relationship? And if they do, it's just know this is something you may be in for a while, right? Not saying that you can't end your relationship or spirits won't leave you or you can't decide not to work with them, but even then, when you do end a relationship, that needs to be done the right way. It's just like quitting a job, you know? You're not just gonna walk into, well, I've done it, some of us have, trust me, I've done it, but for the most part, you're not just gonna walk into your job and just up and quit if you want them to give you a good reference, right? You would respectfully give them their 2-week notice type of thing, give them some time to find your replacement. Because if you did, good luck with trying to get them to give you a good reference. They may tell your new job, hell no, don't hire that person. They just walked in and quit at 7 in the morning on a Monday. That doesn't look so good, right? I'm not saying that's what spirits are gonna do, but I'm just saying, don't create that rapport with them to where they feel taken advantage of and could potentially feel some type of way. And there could be, you know, there can sometimes be some things that come along with that. That's not straight across the board. That may not be everybody's stance on it. Some of you may not agree. That's okay. All I can do is go based off of my experience, my spiritual practice, my years, and what I have seen happen to myself and with other people, and what I have learned on my journey. So if you have a different perspective or opinion, I more than welcome you to share that down in the comments below. I simply ask that you do it respectfully. I am open to questions, comments, and I love seeing debates amongst those of you who are viewing this video. If you have any suggestions or recommendations, or if you want to maybe just share your experience of petitioning a spirit or working with the spirit, God, goddess, deity, archangel, demon, I don't know, whoever it is, please share that. If you have a video recommendation or question you'd like me to answer here on a video on YouTube, be sure to let me know. All of my social media handles, how to book a private call with me, will be down in the description box. Again, like this video, give it a thumbs up, help your girl hit 100K subscribers so all this beautiful information can circulate to the collective consciousness who, like you and me, are just trying to improve our life through magic and the law of attraction, okay? Again, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you guys next time.